Mark Tatum, Deputy Commissioner and COO of the National Basketball Association.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you all.
Dr. Richard Lapchick, thanks for being with us here on R&R on Sports.
Thank you for having me.
Civil rights icon, Dr. Edwards, how are you today?
I'm doing a heck of a lot better than I deserve, I'll tell you that.
Sports commentator, Scoop Jackson.
Good to be back on with you all.
Ian Griffey Jr., how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
It's R&R on Sports.
R&R on Sports.
Hello and welcome to R&R on Sports. I'm Howard Robertson.
And I am the most amazing, Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Outstanding. Brother, I am in the house. It's Larry Robinson. What's up, America? Ooh, 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 ooh. What's wrong with you, man? See, you just see. Listen. Here's what I need you to do on your Saturday morning. I need you to drink some other beverage besides Haterade.
I got something right here.
What's up, Unc?
I won't tell everybody what that is. I'm good, man. How you doing?
Man, I am wonderful, brother. I am wonderful. We still sheltering, but man, you know what? Guess what? On this day, mm-hmm. my middle son is having a graduation event. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have a drive-by celebration
on this day,
Saturday.
Okay.
We're going to have it. We're going to have a drive-by celebration. And
I got the invite. So what do I do? I'm literally drive by.
Drive by. He's going to be sitting outside. We got DJs. We got a big projector shining on the house that's going to show pictures of him. We got a big banner that's going to be hanging from the second floor. That's going to be honoring him, graduate, and all that stuff. We got people coming through the neighborhood. We got people driving, and just stop by and and give him a little bit of love a little bit of love and a little bit of something else too. That too. That goes without saying.
So, how does he feel about all of this, and does he feel like he's being cheated out of this pandemic has cheated him out of his typical senior experiences? How's he feel about it?
I think me and his mom and other adults have made him feel like he's being cheated, because we're saying, damn, this is horrible. You don't get to have a graduation. You didn't get to go to prom. I don't, because you really don't know what those things are like on that side of it, because you've not done it before. So I think from that perspective, he may feel a little bit, but beyond that, man, I mean, he's so cool, man. And to be honest, Nas a 3.9, has about 3.9 GPA, mm-hmm. and really all he cares about is hooping. I mean, and literally that's been his thing. I'm gonna get these grades so you can stay off my butt, but really it's about hooping. And he's decided to go to a prep school because of all the COVID stuff. He's saying, hey, so he likes that because he wanted to go to a prep school anyway, because he's really wanting to go to one of the major D1 programs, and he wants to give it his best shot. So we can't do anything but support him, because the kid has done everything we've asked him to do. So
good for him. And I think that's an incredible point. I mean, and I think it's indicative of what we do too much. Kids look to adults. We've been there, we've done that, we've experienced, mm-hmm. and so I like the point you made about the fact that he didn't know what he was missing in terms of that, but that you and Natalie, until you and I said, oh my God, you don't get to go to prom.
Right. That's been us.
That. Yeah. And that probably made him feel, if he felt bad about it, it probably made him feel worse. Or that, again, that he was being cheated and would not get the opportunity to experience typical kinds of senior experiences.
Well, listen, But we gonna keep loving, and he's gonna be all right. He's a strong kid. He got strong support. So listen, we got an amazing show, man. We got Mike Wallace from the Memphis Grizzlies, Grind City Media. So he's gonna talk about all the stuff happening in Miami with his career, working in New Orleans and whatnot with the Saints. So we got a lot for you today. Listen, stay
we're
right
gonna
here.
come back on the other side and talk about some stuff that's going on that we got some issues with. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back for more R&R on Sports right after this.
Hey, this is Dr. J.
This is Shaq the Docious.
Yo, what's up? This is Ice Cube.
And you're listening to a little R&R on Sports.
I got up and went to the gym at 9 o'clock this morning. We talked about on the show the kind of workouts I do. It's not fun. I work out until I feel like I'm either going to pass out or throw up. And when I get to that point, I'm just like, oh, I haven't done either. Guess I got to keep going.
The hell with all of that.
And then, like,
I
after
got,
that,
tasks and stuff to do afterwards.
Exactly. I was tired, balls.
Black Nerd Power on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
And now, a new segment on A Little R&R on Sports. Fly on the Wall. Giving you, the A Little R&R on Sports listener, a chance to be a fly on the wall and listen in on private conversations and situations involving sports headliners and personalities. This week, we join San Francisco 49ers linebacker Aldon Smith as he talks to his dad, Thurston Smith, about his arrest for making a bomb threat at LAX. Now, let's join this notable son and his father as a fly on the wall.
See, what happened was... Shut up, Junior. Your mouth is what always gets you in trouble. Now, that tells me you were out there in the airport in Los Angeles talking crazy and acting a damn fool. No, Daddy. It wasn't like that, Daddy. I was minding my own business, and they was checking me. They keep checking me all the time. They just checking me too much. They check everybody, fool. But they knew who I was. I go there all the time. They were trying the dogs. They put the dogs on the brother. So I just hollered, bomb! And then they tripped everybody out. You ain't right. Something bad wrong with you. I told your mama you didn't look right the day you was born. Let me see your eyes. No, Lord, you've been smoking that stuff again. No, I don't do that no more. I don't do that no more. They got me in trouble. Yeah, I know. When you quit this morning? About 2 hours ago. Let me call your mama. No, Daddy. Hey, baby. I got bad news. You about to lose the house and all them pretty things you got because this idiot son of yours about to get put out the league. What? Luke? My car too? Daddy. My Mercedes-Benz? No, Daddy, not the belt. Top minute ignorant things that you gonna do. Don't you ever tell nobody you got a bomb. Is you crazy? Long as you black, don't you ever do that.
Hey, this is Howard Robertson with R&R on Sports.
And I'm the most amazing Larry Robinson.
For the best entertainment you can imagine, download the KUDZUKIAN app and get R&R on Sports.
Download it from the Google Play Store or the App Store. Android, Google Play, iOS, App Store. Get it.
KUDZUKIAN.
Welcome back for more R&R on Sports. Back. So, all kinds of stuff going on. And
we got to talk about this Rooney Rule garbage. We got to talk about this Rooney Rule garbage. Listen, so you're going to give an extra incentive for hiring black people.
No. Okay, set it up. Don't just.
No, you set it up, but I want to get to the part that irritates the hell out of me.
People know what you're talking about, so set it up.
Well, listen, the NFL has decided that they want to try to revise the Rooney Rule, kind of give a Rooney Rule 2.0. And as part of this, one of the suggestions was to give incentives for teams who decided to hire or consider hiring African American or minority candidates.
Okay, now put a comma right there. So in case we don't assume anything on our own sports, so in case you don't know what the Rooney Rule is, Rooney Rule had to do with trying to
improve
create
the ranks.
more equity within the National Football League, particularly as it regards the opportunities for African American coaches
and coordinators and
front office
headquarters.
Front office positions, in terms of which there is I mean, if you look at the racial level and percentage on the field and look at it in the front office, there's no correlation whatsoever. None whatsoever. You could be talking about two different sports.
Well, you know, and it's not just the NFL. The NBA is having some of the same issues. Think about it. Right. You know, there's only but in the NFL, okay, we're talking about the NFL.
So I was just explaining to people
out of 32 head coaches, to give you an idea of how bad it is in the NFL. Out of 32 head coaches, how many coaches would you say there are in the whole NFL? Minority, not even just black, just minority.
Out of 32 head coaches.
Out of 32.
Total coaches or head coaches?
Head coaches.
Head coaches, 3.
You didn't do bad. 4. It's 4 minority head coaches in the entire NFL. That's a league that is 70% black on the field.
Now, there are some people who will hear this that don't think it's a thing in the world wrong with that.
Well, and I'd say you just need to wake the hell up. Because, I mean, really. I mean, literally, if they're good enough, if these players are good enough to be on the field, they're good enough to be Hall of Famers. They're good enough to go out here and beat their heads in every week and have CTE and all that. But they're not good enough to lead a team.
No, they would tell you that.
They're not good enough to lead a team.
The same people I'm talking about would tell you that if they were good enough, then there would be head coaches, because the NFL only wants the best head coaches. But just because they are African American doesn't mean that they are good enough to be head coaches. Maybe an assistant or a line coach or whatever, backfield coach or whatever.
Position coach.
But they
They're not good enough at being coordinators, being offensive, defensive coordinators, but they're not good enough to be head coaches.
Doesn't mean that they're good enough to coach. That's what they would say. So,
but a lot of people that have never played are good enough to be coaches, though. They just don't happen to look like us. And it ain't too many brothers that have ascended to the rank of head coach that's never played the game.
Okay, so talk about what they were trying to do with this new ruling. Well, it's not a ruling. I mean, it was a recommendation.
Just a recommendation.
Okay. All right.
Now, with the situation being that there's 3 black coaches and 1 Hispanic coach, the NFL seeing a problem because the league is consistently turning more and more darker in as far as melanin. And when it comes to the league, what they're seeing is that the league is becoming more and more black, while the head coaching and those in administrative positions is getting more and more Caucasian. So there's a problem here. There's a lack of balance here. So what they're trying to do is help legislate change and policy change in the NFL so that the racist owners will not continue to discriminate against African American candidates. So they said, hey, why don't we give them extra draft picks for those that hire minority coaches? That was one of the suggestions. And I just think it's really ridiculous that you got to give somebody an incentive to hire someone who's talented enough to be in the position. And I just think it's an abomination, and it really speaks to the lack of empathy or the lack of true sportsmanship attitudes in the ownership group of the NFL.
You're listening to R&R on Sports on the KUDZUKIAN Network. And so, Larry, what I have found out from our crack staff, our tremendous staff is that I was right. I said 3 blacks. There are 3 blacks. There are 3 blacks and one. There are 4 to your point.
Yeah,
but there are 4 minorities.
3 and 1. 1 Hispanic.
Right. Okay. So,
and don't you think it's interesting that the Hispanic coach is at the Redskins?
Ain't that something? So
this thing, we couldn't write this.
Brown skin at the Redskins.
Brown skin at the Redskins.
Okay, so I agree with you. I think
you could say now if he's of Mexican descent, you could say there's a Redskin at the Redskins.
Hey,
because he could be that. Because he could be.
We ain't gonna get into that. We ain't gonna go there. But I do agree with you that I think it's ignorance is what it is. It's ignorance is what it is. It's insulting, ignorance, man. It's insulting and it's ignorance because you don't fight racism with incentives.
Right.
You don't. You don't. You don't fight privilege with incentives. You don't fight exclusion with incentives.
Well, some would say. So some would say that affirmative action is just that. Affirmative action is just that. Is that you're giving incentives for fighting racism?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Not like that. Not like that. I mean, these incentives are in the thing of bonuses and so here's what I'm saying. I am saying that it is much more insidious. Racism is much more insidious than that, much deeper than that, and that won't kill it. And it is very, very deep in the National Football League. Very, very deep in the National Football League. So I don't have all the answers. What do you think they should do? Let's say if they were truly serious about effecting a change, do you have some kind of top of mind impression or suggestion about what they should do?
Well, I just think you should look at some of your more talented minority coaches and really give them a plan. Give them a development plan. If you're saying that they don't have certain attributes that's needed, then help them develop those attributes. I've seen some very talented young men on the different sports networks that are more than equipped to be GMs, to be head coaches, and to be coordinators. And I see them all the time. I mean, when you start talking about your boys, Damon Woody and all of these guys, it's a few of them, and I shouldn't have started calling names, but there's a few out there that are really, really sharp. And I think they could be given an opportunity. And I'm sure there's plenty on the sidelines that should be given opportunity.
I'll tell you what I think NFL can start by doing. I think they can start by asking harder questions. I think that when there is a position available, I do know that the front office and the owners and whatnot have to submit to the NFL the list of people that they are interviewing and they're interested in and all of that. But when there are qualified African Americans on that list, and ultimately one of them does not get the job, I think the NFL needs to ask hard questions about why didn't he? Why didn't they? I think we
got a socialization issue too. I think a large part of it is, once again, development. We prepare corporate executives to be better and be more prepared for the job ahead of them that they got their eyes set on, and we put a development plan in place. Why can't we do the same thing for some of these coaches? If they're missing certain attributes, then let's develop those attributes. Okay. So listen, but we got a heck of a show because listen, before the NFL and everybody else, the NBA is talking about coming back. So on the show, we have Mike Wallace with Grind City Media, formerly of the Heat Index on ESPN, and followed the championship attending Heat 4 years in a row before he got to Memphis. So we got Mike on the other side of this. We're going to get into some deep stuff, and we can't wait. So don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back on
R&R on Sports.
There you go, my brother. R&R. We'll be right back.
I got up and went to the gym at 9 o'clock this morning. We talked about on the show the kind of workouts I do. It's not fun. I work out until I feel like I'm either going to pass out or throw up. And when I get to that point, I'm just like, oh, I haven't done either. Guess I got to keep going. The hell with all of that.
And then, like,
I
after
got, like, tasks and stuff to do afterwards.
Exactly. I was tired, balls.
Black Nerd Power on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
KUDZUKIAN.
Welcome back to R&R on Sports. And we are pleased to have with us today Mike Wallace, who is the Grind City Media Senior Editor. Mike, welcome to R&R on Sports.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, man. And I hope you guys are safe and pushing through this, man. Thanks a lot. It's been far too long. I'm glad we're finally able to do this.
Absolutely. But Howard, you got to put some respect on this brother's name. Now, he used to do the Heat Index for the Miami Heat. This brother went to the championship 4 times in a row.
Oh.
Now, he wasn't on the court actually before the game and after the game, but he went to the championship 4 times in a row with the Miami Heat. What's up, my brother Mike?
Hey, what's going on, man? I appreciate the plug, man. It's funny. I was just dealing with my ESPN colleagues earlier today, and it's been a 10-year anniversary since that day when LeBron came down to Miami, man, and changed a bunch of our lives down there. So 10 years ago to the day.
Let's start by
10 years ago today.
Yeah. 10 years ago this summer.
It doesn't seem like it's been that long, man.
Man, think about it. Remember the ESPN special? I'm taking my talents to South Beach.
Yes.
That was July of 2010. We're now in 2020, man, and 10 years have gone by just like that.
Man, I'm telling you.
That was a remarkable ride, man. I'm glad you mentioned that. That was a remarkable time right there for me.
Well, we're going to ask you about it. So let's talk about the journey a little bit. On R&R, we got to start with quick and dirty, drop into the journey, and then go from there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's wow. I mean, you're talking about 25 years now, man. It's been a 25-year run.
Bro, you too old. You look too young for that. You look too young to be 25 years in the game.
Just made 45, man, and I got started full-time professionally in journalism at 20, covering my man Eddie Robinson, my alma mater, Grambling State University in Louisiana. Being originally from Washington, D.C., I went way across the country to Grambling because Doug Williams led the Redskins to the Super Bowl, first round quarterback MVP. I was 13 years old, man, and that summer I went to Doug Williams' camp as a young kid in D.C., and Doug said, there was this mythical place and this mythical man that I learned everything from. And he said it was Grambling and Eddie Robinson. And I knew right there I was going down south to go to Grambling State University. So from there, that's when the journey started, man. And it's gotten me through covering the SEC, the NFL, Hurricane Katrina, O.J. Simpson trials, NBA, finals, Olympics, Mike Tyson, all the way up until this point right now where I'm in Memphis covering these Grizzlies for Grind City Media and thegrizzlies.com.
Fantastic. So let's put this into context.
It's a lot.
It's been from an HBCU, y'all. Check it out, an HBCU. Now, we had this whole thing about what if they committed and went to some of the top athletes going to HBCUs, but you went there and you weren't on the field. And now you've gone all the way to now covering one of the hottest rookies in all the NBA in Ja Morant. So I'm sure that journey has been quite rewarding. Out of all the things you've done, what's that one thing that you would say just will stick with you and you will hold dear for the rest of your life?
You know what? I was thinking about this yesterday, and May 19th would have been Malcolm X's 95th birthday. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time when I speak to universities and students and everybody when I go to conferences. I've been around all the greatest athletes of all time. You know what I mean? I had a chance early on to meet Muhammad Ali. I've been around Michael Jordan. I've been around LeBron James, all the football players, basketball players, Olympians. But the time that I hold closest to my career in terms of what I was able to do, where I was completely mesmerized, was when I had a chance to sit down in a span of a week with Coretta Scott King, Betty Shabazz, and the late widow, not the late widow, but the Nelson Mandela, Winnie Mandela. So the three wives of the most iconic people that I've ever had a chance to study about and learn about, meeting their wives and hearing their stories and writing their stories. That's the highlight of my career right there.
Oh, man, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Listen, this is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with senior editor of Grind City Media, Mike Wallace. Give us something, H. Hit him one time.
Mike, give us a little bit about, we can't assume that everybody knows what Grind City is, so talk a little bit about that.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Grind City Media is a multimedia digital media wing of the Memphis Grizzlies, NBA.com, Grizzlies.com. All of these teams in the league, all 30 teams, are striving to be a better digital content production company within their own franchise. And Memphis was one of the first franchises to go down this path. And they hooked up with me, got me to come from ESPN. We've recruited from around the country to bring some people in. Megan Triplett was Memphis grown and went to ESPN and came back. Michael Blevins was with the San Francisco 49ers, our video production guy. Chris Vernon was locally at ESPN. So we put together this team here to tell our story our way, to cover this team in this town, in this city, in a way that our fans are authentic and unique. So we look forward to it. We're still growing. There's a lot of segments of our community that we want to continue to explore and learn and grow with. But I like the start we've been on for these first 4 years right now.
So you came here from Miami.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about the difference.
Man. I tell you what, it's funny because David Fizdale got hired by the Grizzlies to be the coach. And then 2 weeks later, I solidified my deal to come here from Miami too. So we were both
it was a package deal.
We were a package deal on the way in. Thankfully, not on the way out. You know what I mean? So, he used to say it all the time, man. He told me one time, he was like, listen, you go from having to lure and recruit free agents to South Beach, and now you recruit them to, the south end of the Mississippi. And it's a little bit different, man, when you talk about that. But at the end of the day, you have a realness here in Memphis, authenticity here with the people. You see your purpose. You know what I mean? In Miami, everybody's a celebrity or wannabe celebrity. Everybody's living sort of a fantasy life or a fake life to a certain degree. But in Memphis, what you see is what you get, man. And when people love you, they love you. And when they have a problem with you, they speak it to your face. And you know that you can deal with it and try to move forward from there. So it's been great to come into a city like this that wraps its arms around its sports franchises. And they know who you are. I walk outside every day downtown and somebody recognizes me because of my job and what I do in the community. And that's refreshing. And it makes you want to continue to do that.
Oh, man, that's awesome, man. This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with Mike Wallace, former lead editor of the Heat Index on ESPN. So listen, Mike, when you think about your people that have really meant a lot to you and really inspired you for your career, name some of those people that really helped you sort of guide you as your North Star in the journalistic realm.
I mean, it starts with some of the names that you guys have all heard. I mean, Stephen A. Smith was a guy that motivated me for a lot of different reasons. One, I remember him, and I've known him since before he was on ESPN and the loud talker, the debater. He was a beat writer covering the Philadelphia 76ers, just like so many other guys around the league. And, one of the things that I told him this when I got to ESPN, I said, look, man, you motivated me in a way that you never even imagined you did. And I reached out to you when I was just getting started in my career, and I said, I want to be an NBA reporter. And I emailed you. I emailed two other people. I know the three people by name, Ethan Skolnick, Rob Motti, and Stephen A. Smith. And I said, I emailed all three of y'all asking, introducing who I was, asking you to tell me what the path was and how can I get there. And, two of the three of you guys, including you, Stephen A., never got back to me, never responded.
What was his response?
And his response was like, man, I'm sorry, man. He was real genuine about it. We laughed about it. But one of the things that he said in that interaction, which happened in 2010, when I first got to ESPN, he was like, but you know what, young man, like you had what it took to get here anyway. You know what I mean? And he said, don't ever let anybody, how they treat you determine how you go about pushing yourself and motivating yourself. And he said, let that be a lesson because I know Steve, he's helped thousands of other young African-American reporters. I was just one that slipped through a crack and on a bad week or something like that, my email maybe didn't reach him. But I make sure to know that when people reach out to me, that I answer as many and every email as I can when young students, young men, young women want to reach out and have a hand up. That's important to me to do that. So he's one of the lessons that I like to use when it comes to that. But there's so many more. But I figured that would be a good one to use in this format.
Now, you've been active in NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists. Where has that fit for you, or how has that helped you in your career as a sports journalist?
I need to get more actively involved in it. Frankly, some of my best friends are running the NABJ task force right now. Mark Spears is a brother of mine in this industry. Every time he comes to Memphis for our MLK celebrations, we get together, chop it up. We were pivotal at one another's in one another's careers. I mean, he was the first guy that introduced me to what it was like to buy a tailored suit. You know, me and him going suit shopping together. He took me under his wing years ago. Yeah, I mean, and that's the kind of relationship you build at NABJ. It's not just about, you know, comparing your resumes and striving to get your career right. It's about being a young man, being a man. What's the next step? Being a professional. So that's important. You know, I was a 2001 NABJ and NAACP Image Award winner. For my state and my region. And that was a big time award back then in 2001, early in my career, that inspired me to continue to do what I do, both in the field of play and when I covered news and other elements as well. Okay. Well, listen. See, you didn't know all of this about me, man.
No, man, no. Well, listen. Hold on, because don't give it all to him. So listen, we come back. We're going to talk about some of this LeBron stuff. We're going to talk about some Ja Morant stuff. We're going to really talk about where is the NBA going after COVID and what's it going to look like. So you got to stay right there to find out all of this right here on R&R on Sports. So come on back. Don't go nowhere. Stay right there. We'll be right back after this.
We're getting funky, y'all.
33% of Americans have a college degree. 43% of Africans in this country have a college degree. These are African immigrants that are coming to this country. They didn't have the opportunity and access, but they came over here in this American dream and created within this framework the opportunity that this country was set up, the ideal it was set on. And now to say that these people, because the disparaging remark goes further than just hole.
It's Funky Politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Hi, I'm Howard Robertson.
And this is Larry Robinson from R&R on Sports.
And we want to wish all our heroes happy Memorial Day. Welcome back to R&R on Sports. Back. Please.
Baby, we back, baby. We back.
This is what I go through every week, man. But
and you enjoy it. Don't even tell nobody no lies, boy. You know you enjoy it. You know you enjoy it over here at Mac Acting a Fool with Larry Love. Come on.
But Mike Wallace, senior editor for Grind City Media. Let's talk about where we are, and then let's talk about where we're going. So before the break, Larry mentioned Ja Morant. Clearly and obviously the most exciting rookie in the league. If there is a rookie of the year, it should absolutely, without question, be him. Talk a little bit about that, his entrance into the NBA. And into the team independently as well as the NBA collectively.
I think the important thing about Ja Morant, and to understand why he's so dynamic, why he's so explosive, and why he is the way he is, you just look at his story and those who are closest around him. His father, T. Morant, was very, very vital in his development. And that's one of the most beautiful things that I see on a daily basis dealing with Ja Morant is the father-son relationship, particularly African-American father-son dynamic. T. Morant still to this very day drops Ja Morant off at the team airport when we go out for road trips. I mean,
are you serious?
He wants to have that bond with his son before he gets on a plane to go on road trips. They're together. T. Morant is bringing his entire family to the games at FedEx Forum every single day. And he goes down on the floor to check on Ja, and he comes back up and hangs out with his other daughter and his wife. So I see that, and that's a beautiful thing. Now, you asked about Ja as the player. But really to understand what he is as a player, you got to understand and start with who he is as a person. And that kind of upbringing you see transcend into what he is now. Ultimate competitor. T was a guy that played high school basketball. He went to an HBCU, played at Claflin University in South Carolina.
Right.
Was a high school teammate of Ray Allen. So,
really?
And T,
wow.
Ja came along when T had a chance to go overseas and play, but he chose not to go that route, stayed domestically to get a job and try to raise his family. And now what you're seeing is Ja become the sort of evolution of that, and Ja made it, and he didn't go the Kentucky route or the major school route.
Right.
He went to he's from a small town in South Carolina, went to a mid-major university at Murray State, number 2 overall pick, man. And now you're seeing him just scream. It's like, wait, exhale. He's exhaling right now and catching the world by storm. And that's the kind of player the Grizzlies got with the number 2 overall pick this month, a year ago.
Wow. This is R&R on Sports, and man, we speaking and chopping it up with Mike Wallace of Grind City Media. Mike, they say that Jai was a shoe-in for Rookie of the Year, but you had this other kid that was a little bit further south that was just electrifying. He's the round mound of throwing you to the ground. So when you talk about Zion Williamson and you talk about Ja Morant, what is your prediction for the future? Are these 2 Hall of Famers?
Wow, that's lofty praise right there. It's big time, and I think that they can get there. They have and it's funny because they come from the same region of the country. Both of them are South Carolina guys. They played AAU ball together in high school, and now they're in the NBA as rookies. And I think both of them are unique in a way that we've never seen or rarely have seen before. It's hard. In this era where we're comparing players all the time to one another, I don't know if there's a comp for Zion Williamson, a guy with that size, that heft, that athleticism, and just that tenacity. Charles Barkley had it a little bit, but Zion is even bigger than Charles.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's not quite Chris Webber. He's not quite Charles Barkley. He's not quite Karl Malone. He's a combination of everything. And I think he certainly has the upside. Hall of Famer, he's going to be an all-star. He's going to be all NBA at some point. Hall of Fame is pretty lofty to reach, but I think both of these guys have the kind of talent to get there. We'll see if it works out where they can win and add the other parts of their resume to get them there as well.
Well, the reason I ask you that question is because you've seen Hall of Famers. You've seen Hall of Famers and you've seen Ray Allen. You got to be down in Miami with Chris Bosh and LeBron and the like. So that's why I ask you, do you see the same work ethic? Do you see the same components that a Hall of Famer would make? It's
you know what, the keys to those Hall of Famers, and I've covered Shaq too. I've been around Kobe Bryant. You go back, Reggie Miller and some of these guys. I was appalled the fact that Ben Wallace hasn't made the Hall of Fame. He sort of got passed over this time. Ben Wallace is a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year, one of the best defensive players that we've ever seen in this league, and he got passed over. I think Vince Carter is going to get in, but he's considered a borderline prospect candidate. So, yes, I do think I've always said people always like to talk about Ja Morant and compare him to Russell Westbrook and some of those other guys. I grew up in D.C., and I had a chance to play against a guy my age, my contemporary, in Allen Iverson.
Okay.
John reminds me so much of Allen Iverson in terms of tenacity and how they carry themselves.
Right.
And he has every bit of the athleticism that Allen had too. And Allen is a Hall of Famer. So I definitely think Ja has those intangibles, but it's a long road to get there, man. How do you recover from injuries?
Right.
How do you handle defeat and losses? Right. Can you eliminate the distractions around you so you can have a 10, 15, 18, 20-year career to get yourself into the Hall of Fame? Those are all things I got to see from these young guys.
There's a name for that. That's called character. And I agree with you. We're looking forward to that. I think he's got it, but we're looking forward to seeing that. Larry misspoke a little earlier. He said,
listen, ain't no such thing, brother. Ain't no such thing. You see this Mr. Fantastic? I could have replaced that with Mr. Perfect. So listen, get it right now. So put some respect on my name now. What you say now?
You could have also replaced her with Mr. Delusional.
Shots fired.
So anyway,
Shots fired.
Listen, here's what he said. The way he misspoke is he said, we were going to talk about how you guys do after COVID-19. There's no after COVID-19. And it occurs to me that the NBA is probably going to lead, be one of the leaders in the world in terms of what you do now, how you come back. Talk a little bit about what you know or what you feel or what you hope might be the plan for getting the players back on the floor and the games started again.
There certainly is a lot of energy towards bringing the resumption back to play. In terms of what the league's next steps are, they're being very careful in terms of what they're saying and how they're going about saying it. So I'm not at liberty to really discuss some of the internal stuff because it's still playing out. But I can say what's been out there. And what's been out there is that Adam Silver, as a commissioner, isn't ruling out anything. He's exploring all options. The point of it has always been to get back so you can resume the 2019-2020 season with as much integrity as possible. As it relates to the Memphis Grizzlies, they were positioned just fine. They had the 8th seed in position to make the playoffs. They had a 2.5 to 4 game lead over their next teams behind them. And they were looking at one of the most intriguing matchups in the first round against LeBron James and the Lakers and the Grizzlies in the first round. So,
but do you think that's logistically possible?
I do think it's possible. So if the league goes and they go straight to a playoff format with the training camp leading up to it, the Grizzlies are in. If they go to a let's play out the rest of the regular season, which was most teams had about 17 to 20 games left, that's an even bigger challenge. But if they go to that format, the Grizzlies are like their position as well. And keep in mind, Memphis is playing with, they don't want to say house money, so to speak, but they're ahead of the curve. They're ahead of the progress. Not many people expected them to be in this situation with the youngest team in the league, first-year head coach, a new front office for the most part. So they're building in the right direction. And the league, if they can resume and figure this out to do it in a safe and healthy fashion, I do think we're going to be seeing NBA basketball in a relative near future again. Like you said, COVID doesn't, I don't think we're going to get beyond COVID. We're just going to have to get through it and with it and understand how to persevere alongside it and just try to take precautions as much as possible. And the league is doing that.
Right. It hasn't left. And a lot of people, I think, are making a mistake in, I call it the storm mentality. They deal with it like it's a storm that passes. This hasn't passed.
No, it hasn't. I mean, you're still seeing the death toll rise, and what you're seeing, and this is just me speaking as a man with a family, with a job, and as a person that lives in
as a black
community.
Man,
absolutely
affecting our community in a devastating,
disproportionate way. And what you want to also understand too is that we have to be careful, man. We really do. We have to go out there and as much as, and what people are underestimating is, yes, this is a physical ailment that's impacting people. But the mental aspect of being cooped up and having to stay quarantined, that's not a human condition, man. So I don't want to underestimate what people are going through mentally because people are losing their minds right now trying to figure out how to get back to their lives. You got to have a balance between the health concerns and also the economic and mental health stability of what people are going through as well, particularly in the African-American community.
Well, and I think one of the natural tendencies is to congregate, and we can't congregate anymore. So in terms of your audience for the games, you're going to have to aggregate your audiences, not congregate your audiences. So how pro sports does that is going to be interesting.
It will. And you're talking about a guy, like I've covered the NFL before. I've covered devastation. I was. It's amazing. I was on the road for a big time college football game when September 11th hit. I was in a head coach's office as we were watching the second plane go through. I was in New Orleans covering the story of Katrina and the Saints coming back. I was on the Saints beat when they hired Sean Payton and when they traded for and acquired Drew Brees and drafted Reggie Bush. I was in the middle of all of that as Katrina, as they were trying to bring that region back. I was on the front lines there, and seeing this is each of them is different in terms of what impact, but this is on a global scale. Right. This is something that's unlike anything out there that I've ever seen. And I don't know. I do think we do get back to eventually having games where people are going to be able to see and sit in the stands and do it that way. It's just we're going to have to be extra, extra careful, and hopefully they can develop a vaccine to help in that safety.
Absolutely. All right, now we got one question left, and so we ask people when they come.
No, we don't ask it.
Well, I ask you, and be quiet then. Be quiet then. Hey, listen, man, I don't need no help. I just need you to be quiet.
It's a dumb question.
I need you to be quiet.
Dumb question alert.
It ain't no dumb question, brother. This is a brother of the hip hop era. So I want to know, you got your song. Every superhero needs theme music. Mike Wallace, you going out, you going to the middle of the court. It's your last day as a writer, as a journalist. You're going to take it to the house.
Set it up and ask
What's the music? What's the music that you playing as you walk into center court as they give you that bag to take it to the house?
Oh my God, man, that is a great question. One I never thought about before. But I can tell you this: as you were setting it up, I was narrowing down the list, and I think I'm gonna go with the first song that I absolutely fell in love with hip hop with. It came out in 1986. It changed the game for me. I love Run DMC and all those guys before then, but Dougie Fresh, The Show.
Oh yeah.
And when you walk in the middle of that, and then you hit the drop, and then the beatbox come, that's me right there, baby. That's the mic check, mic drop moment right there for my career.
Fantastic. And we gonna end it right there now. Put some respect on my name, man. I ain't gonna let you keep sitting over there dissing me. Cause see, if you were standing next to me, I'd pull your cane out from under you.
What you gonna do?
I'm gonna just talk about you real bad. So listen, Mike, man, thank you. And we got a little parting words that we say about, you got to come back. Go ahead, say that little piece you do, man.
You're in the family now, man. You're in the family. So when the phone rings, don't get brand new, okay?
As Biggie said, same number, same hood. It's all good, man.
We appreciate you being with us here on R&R on Sports, and we look forward to having you back. We will be back for more R&R on Sports after this.
You're listening to a little R&R on Sports.
Jazz, America's own original musical art form. When did it start? Who were and are some of the major players? How do you distinguish what kind of jazz you're listening to? We talk about the great and lesser-known artists, songs and tunes, the instruments, and the social impact jazz has had on world culture since its beginning at the start of the 20th century.
Riffin' on jazz on the KUDZUKIAN Network. KUDZUKIAN!
We are back for more R&R as we hit the door. And this is typically the time that we say goodbye in our own very, very special ways to people and shout outs and recognize people. Thank you. That was so good.
Are you my friend?
Okay, so Mandalay, I want to shout out ESPN. It was a good thing that they did for more reasons than one. I understand that typically they would get 1 million viewers. Basically, they would reach 1 million households with an NBA game.
Right.
And they were averaging 6 million households for the episodes of Last Dance. So certainly that was a very, very good thing. But I think it was a very well done, very engaging, informative documentary.
You call it a documentary? You call it a documentary?
It was a documentary.
So where the subject gets to approve the last cut?
It was a documentary.
There wasn't no documentary.
It was a documentary. Why not?
Nah,
it documented. Why wasn't it a documentary?
Well, I mean, typically the subject doesn't get to approve and choose what things are being told about him.
It was still a documentary. It documented.
Okay, all right.
Michael Jones.
I just don't.
Career. Yeah. Michael Jones' career too.
Michael Jones. Well, listen. Here's my thing. If you're gonna shout out Mandalay Bay, I'ma shout out the brothers who said they wouldn't have took that kind of jump. First on the list, Shannon Sharp. I love the fact that said Shannon Sharp said you come and took my plate, and brother, we gonna still be throwing hands to this day.
Okay.
So that's one. Horace Grant, who called him out and said, brother, you just a straight up lie. You just straight up lie. This ain't the situation. This ain't how it went down. And number three is my man, what is that? A guy down in the Miami. What's his name at Miami? Oh man. I'm thinking I'm drawing a blank. I'm drawing a blank.
Thought of that before you said that.
Udonis Haslem. Yeah, Udonis Haslem. That's it. Udonis Haslem. I mean, UD, those are guys that are real guys. Like Ben Wallace. I don't think Ben Wallace from Detroit. I don't think you would have been talking that smack to him. I don't think he would have done that. And then Robert Parrish. I'm going to give a shout out to Robert Parrish because Robert Parrish said he tried me one time. And I said, I don't think you're going to do that, brother. And he said, I stepped to him. He said, Robert Parrish said, I stepped to Michael and said, I don't think you're going to do that. Well, and he said, the last time I ever had a problem with Mike Jordan. So my thing is, he knew, like Charles Barkley said, he knew who to pick on. And I just don't like that point. I don't like the way they made Scotty look. Now, I liked the event. I did like the show. I loved it. We've had 5 weeks of amazing time with our kids on Sunday night. But I just I didn't think it was well balanced.
Hey, well, we disagree. I think it showed an accurate picture of what it was. I don't think they sugarcoated anything. Michael is who he is. He was who he was. And, so anyway, I think it was well done. I was very, very glad to see it. And I'm glad it's out there for people to be able to go see and make their own decisions about what they like. We need to do more of those kinds of documentaries, which is what I believe it was. But with that, we're going to say thank you for being with us yet again on R&R on Sports. We appreciate it. We wish you well. And if you're still quarantining and whatnot,
break out the app. Go get the KUDZUKIAN app on Google Play, App Store on iOS, and download the KUDZUKIAN app and listen to all of the R&R shows. Just go back and go through all 7 seasons.
Right. And if you're going out, and please continue to practice social distancing and wear a mask, okay? Wear a mask. Don't be inconsiderate.
And for those folks that's on the other side of the track, those are maskers. Make sure you put on your maskers.
Thanks for being with us here on R&R. I am Howard Robertson.
And I am the great Larry Robinson. And we out.
Peace. You will.
You've been listening to a little R&R on Sports, written and produced by Howard Robertson, Larry Robinson, recorded and mixed in Memphis, Tennessee.